Dun 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 bum 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 bum. What's going on, you guys?
Great intro there.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're
Karaoke night
welcome.
today. What's crack a
How's it
lacking?
go? Good. Yeah. I guess now we have a bit of a slowdown in the market, so now is a really great time to start kind of paying attention to the meme word fundamentals, which actually do matter over much longer time frames. But this is actually a very good time to kind of plan out over the next 1 to 2 years. So
Yeah. I just wanted to tell everybody I wanted to like go into a little bit more of my thoughts of like why I sold all my BTC into Celsius and then why I'm still buying a fuck ton of fucking synthetics, but also like a bit of caution as well. You
yeah,
know, basically I was like, what am I doing with this thing? I mean, honestly, I'm a big proponent of holding a lot of BTC and stuff and everything like that, right? But I was just like, there's just too much good news, and I mean, I'd rather just take the gamble. It's just at the end of the day, I'm a gambling man, but like I do my research and I know quite a lot about Celsius, so I decided to just fuck it. Why not? It just is what it is. I just heard a lot of good. There's just a lot of good news coming up. I heard some very good California news that made me quite bullish. That wanted me to increase my Celsius position, so I could possibly be able to maybe do some degen loans. Possibly, we'll see. But how's the chat been? Good shit. What's going on?
there's some questions in the chat right now. So, it's mostly related to like portfolio management and maybe some good strategies there. But yeah, no, I'd say basically anything that gives you an edge in the market's good. So, if you have a strong conviction around Celsius, then that's going to give you a basically competitive edge later on. So I guess like the main thing I'm kind of paying attention to is what Bitcoin does over the remainder of the summer. It's not going to be very obvious like what it does from day to day, week to week. Kind of doesn't matter. What's going to be really important is how it reacts over the next couple months, and that's going to be basically a good way to basically manage, I guess, like the risk in the market and consider because when you cost average into it, like if you blast in at once and you no longer have any cash left, you're kind of in a spot where if you hit that huge downside risk, there's just less opportunity to kind of capitalize on that. And I mean, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. I mean, if you look at Cell Token, that's held up really well. I think, in fact, it's actually been trying to push higher on the price chart while everything else is struggling. But kind of the gist of it, there's a couple exceptions to that. I would say anything that's kind of trading, at least on some of the more centralized exchanges like Coinbase, are more tightly coupled to each other, and then ultimately Bitcoin on the smaller time frames. So I think basically the strategy you have makes total sense. And then there's just different ways, I guess, one could possibly go about that. Do you want to, I guess, maybe take a look at the Bitcoin price chart?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Pull it up. Yeah, for sure. I mean, basically, this whole market's being kind of cucked out a little bit by Bitcoin because people are just, we said it on Moon Gang. I said that on Moon Gang the other day. Basically, like, I've never seen them. I've been in the market for about 5 years, and I've never seen the market so confused about what's like, is it a bull trap? Is it a bear trap? No matter what anyone says, they're all saying it's a trap. It's a trap, which just makes me kind of bullish, honestly.
Yeah,
It just
right.
makes me feel like this market's not dead yet, but doesn't mean. But of course, that means that there probably going to be one more dip. Even though I'm leaning towards now after what me and Wasabi were talking about in private that there might be one more dip right now, and then we fucking just surge, like altcoin surge, because of all the fucking good news with EIP 5059 and everything else. And then from there, taking the dip after that, probably sometime in like, August, September, somewhere in that range, probably. Because like there's always corrections, Am I coming in choppy?
Oh, my bad. I was on mute there for a sec. No, you're good. Your audio's coming good on my end.
Okay, cool. So yeah, somebody was telling me I was coming in choppy. I was like, what the fuck?
Is my audio still low right now?
No, it's fine. You could up your volume a little bit. It's fine. You're not like yelling in my ear or nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I think somebody in the chat mentioned it was on the low side. So
yeah, well, we'll get to SNX and everything right now in a minute. But basically, yeah, and we'll get into some other juicy stuff. But go ahead, Wasabi. Here, I'll put you on full screen. Okay.
Yeah, so the main one I'm looking at as far as market wide sentiment is really what the Bitcoin price chart, how it plays out over the next, I would say the remainder of the summer. Short term, even if it makes moves up to 47 to 48K, there's not going to be too much I think about it until I see something that looks better on the monthly chart, because we've been here multiple times through Bitcoin's entire price cycle where it has like a big move up and then it retests some of the moving averages. So kind of the reality is if your coin trades on a centralized exchange like Coinbase, it's going to be very tightly coupled to what Bitcoin does, and then also have higher volatility to the downside during corrections. Now, I would still say whatever your long-term positions are, you should hold on to those and plan, over multiple years with your long-term plays. But for cost averaging into the market, I would say this is kind of a good time to start slowly buying up more coins that you have a strong conviction of, because on monthly charts, if you look at Bitcoin, it did test, let's say, this ribbon multiple times. If you look back in the 2013 double cycle, it retested the ribbon. Back in 2017, once actually during this market cycle, and then now we're kind of in a spot where we just have to see how the charts play out over the next couple months. And there's really no guarantee that it will retest this ribbon, but if it does, it would provide a massive buying opportunity in this entire market for those long-term plays. And that's where at least having some of those stable coins or fiat on the side is going to come handy to possibly make use of that buying opportunity. So I would pay attention to like what Bitcoin does again over the next few months. And even if you see pushes up to 47 to 48K, they don't really mean much until we basically start to have monthly closes back above $50,000, and I think it is gonna take some time to play out. Because if you look at one thing I did is kind of overlaid the 2013 cycle to this market cycle, and the idea itself is kind of this is something I was watching one of Ben's videos, and he was basically looking at these previous market cycles and stacking them on top of each other. And I would say without a doubt in my mind, I do think this cycle is playing out much longer. So if we look at, actually, let me just hide this ribbon here.
And that's good for you guys, dude, because this money's more interest. That also means some higher prices, as well as it's just a longer time where you have more time to even take profit as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that goes into the whole like DCA thing. Like you have time to plan out what you're going to do. And you should also not be overreactive to what your long-term positions are. This is just kind of the game where you get really big dips in this market. It's just the way it is. It's a very young asset class, but if you do have any stables or fiat or reoccurring payments coming in, you'll be able to buy in when those risk levels get really low. Because the green right now on the chart, that's this market cycle, and orange is last one, purple is the 2013. And so far this cycle is mirroring the purple pretty well in terms of the overall market structure. It's just taking a little bit longer to play out on the price chart. So if the ratios in terms of the timing hold up as far as how long the next move takes in relation to the 2013 cycle, you're basically looking at 2022 plus. I if I had to make like a kind of a rough estimate as to where this how far this cycle could go on, I still think it's going to be into the summer of 2022 and possibly even longer. It could honestly even go 2023, 2024. So I think at this point there's a lot of merit.
Repeat that again. Repeat that again. Repeat that again.
Yeah,
Damn.
I would say basically for market cycle, you could be looking at this going even through possibly midway through this decade, which is great for long building up those long-term positions because you have time on your side for this market cycle. But there's the trade-off where you could actually end up in a scenario where there's an entire halving where Bitcoin's just in a bear market, possibly if we get that lengthening cycle.
Yeah, if it's timed wrong. Yeah, I could totally do that. But that also could mean Litecoin might be in a bull market at the peak of the bull market with the halving.
Yeah, there's actually more likelihood to that now. So yeah, I'd say all in all, the charts at least seem to favor kind of that lengthening cycle idea pretty well. And
Dude,
with that in mind,
so let's go into that. So all right, so let's just say, all right. 2023, we're still in the bull market. And then Litecoin has its halving. And then the price goes to stupid levels. And then of course after that, we take a dip somewhere and we're barely in the bear market 6 months and Bitcoin has its halving. That could either it's cool and we get a little pump on Bitcoin, but then it goes back down and we're still in the bear market, or it makes that bear market really shallow, and that could be really interesting because that would repeat something of the 1920s where we get a bump up and we go up in 27 again.
Yeah,
which is it's fucking kind of free. It's freaking. It freaks me out a little bit. This whole narrative about the Roaring Twenties that's kind of going on right now. That we're kind of almost not playing it exactly, but we're playing it really, really, really close to what happened in the 1920s. It just obviously our technology is crypto this time instead of radio stations and railroads. But which is kind of funny because the railroads are just infrastructure plays. So that's really just we're investing into layer one solutions. That's our railroads. And then our polka dots and stuff and everything infrastructure. And then we're just investing into technologies like Celsius is financial technologies. So is synthetics, which is a new version of a derivatives market. It's fucking pretty crazy, man. Yeah. Damn, bro, man. That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Did I unshare your screen? My bad.
I'm not sure. I'm still on the price chart. So, I have here basically the price chart for synthetics, and it's been in this uptrend for quite a while now. And if we actually go to the weekly chart, there was one idea where we basically had a Fibonacci channel as to what the price has been doing so far.
Pass go, collect 200 uni. That's funny. Dude, I love playing Monopoly, man. I love playing Monopoly. That's one of my favorite childhood games all time. Oh no, if there's a war, man, that wouldn't happen until I guess technically World War II started in the late 1930s, honestly. So it's what? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, maybe 2036 we start seeing some bullshit of a war, because I'll be surprised if there isn't a war at some point. I hope not, but I mean, if you look at it, right, we've been essentially in a fucking data war. We've been on some internet war this whole time. If you look at it, yeah. Well, as long as the United States could steamroll up just about any country on the planet, it doesn't matter.
It gets kind of interesting with all this crypto stuff too, because it's even in the if you look at the US because most of the crypto, I think there was some study recently, I think it's mostly millennial, which makes sense to me if you look at the demographics. A lot of millennials that are holding it, and that's going to be a problem for the baby boomers that are not necessarily wealthy enough or well prepared, because really this is I like your description of crypto basically being a rug to legacy finance, because it really is, if you kind of think about how it's playing out, because really millennials, there's enough of them at this point that matter, that have a strong rejection to the legacy finance system as the way it's set up now, and then that ultimately changes like the whole, that could basically I think it will after enough time, but it changes the whole power structure that exists on this planet, and those that previously had power are not necessarily going to take that lightly if they don't have economic mass that's relevant, at least in this market or in the future, as government issued currencies start to kind of deteriorate more and more over time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. Basically, we need some major currency to fail. It's either going to be the U.S. dollar or the Chinese currency. I'm always so bad at pronouncing that currency. Was it the yuan? The yuan, right? Yeah.
I think you're right on that. Yeah, I have a hard time seeing the U.S. dollar fail anytime soon, because even this entire crypto market, like the stable coin of choice is the dollar. So, I think that the world is basically going to bootstrap using the dollar, at least in cryptocurrency, and then at a certain point, maybe in the distant future, the world has to kind of recalibrate around a stable coin that has social consensus around it. So, and that's the biggest disconnect that baby boomers have in relation to why cryptocurrency is emerging the way it is. Like, first off, like, you already have a huge opportunity in this market, and then secondly, this idea where the state of how things exist on chain is extremely powerful, even for things later on, like stable coins. Like, if the world agrees to, let's say, a new standard that's based around a stable form of value, that has to exist like on chain in a network that's enforced by social consensus. Otherwise, there's too many people now that are aware of how the current system is, and why it's not going to be possible to rebuild it the same way. So
right. So the chat brought up a good point, the euro as well. So technically, that's big enough. So it's basically just if the dollar falls, that'll satiate the world. It will be very bad for the world, but it will satiate the whole thing of dominance and allow money flows. And even though there's like what was it? The rich never suffer, or almost never suffer, basically. So it's like it has a sort of a thing where like the dollar, the euro, or the Chinese currency could collapse, and that would satiate the thing. My money, honestly, is either if I had to put my money, I know it's not going to be the dollar. It's probably going to be the Chinese currency if I had to put money on it. But other than that, I'd give it like an 80% chance it's going to be the Chinese currency that goes down first, and then probably the euro afterwards. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's the euro as well, because they're both countries are pretty weak in terms of just economics and stuff. So what's going on right now is there's like bond defaults all over China that are going on right now, actually. So the private sector's debt's defaulting pretty badly right now. But you gotta take into mind, if they're reporting that they're having like record defaults, that means they must have been having them for quite a long time already. Because they kind of lie about the data or make it look nicer and stuff. So if they're reporting that it's bad already, then that's pretty bad. So two, right? They were the first country to ever get the shutdown, right? They were the first ones to ever shut down. So they shut down, closed, and now they're opened again. But it's almost like a trickle down effect. So if we're already starting to see like economic instability in China going on next, the next place will probably be Italy, then Greece, then probably France and Spain. The United States is actually one of the last major. I think it was the last major country to close. Even Russia closed before them. So you can see sort of a thing where we can see in the middle of we just got to keep our eye on. One of the things I'm watching on is countries, like entire systems kind of collapsing down. So that actually could be very, very good for the U.S. system, because every time there's worldwide calamity, people sell equities in their home countries and buy U.S. equities and assets, and that it actually is one of the backstops. So if should there be a crash in the United States, let's just say there's the stock market crashes, that will be that'll be the straw that broke the camel's back around the world, and that will cause the other markets to sell off violently. And what people do in those countries is from South Africa to China to all of Asia and in Europe, they sell their equities to buy U.S. equities on the low. They essentially buy our equities on the low. They stop us from falling down, and as well as the government and people with money in the United States. And then what happens from there, it hits the bottom, shoots back up. Once the U.S. market stabilizes, then they use the money off of the equities off the U.S. market to then prop up their own countries' equities markets.
Yeah, so
that's basically what happens.
I guess one of the other issues, if you look at like a market-wide crash, even in equities, in that kind of scenario, I think that kind of fucks up a lot of things, even in terms of like the cost of goods and services. Because for one, if your economy is totally stagnating, you already have an increasing cost. There's already like an increasing cost from that. And then two, if you end up with the equities market collapsing, then that's a shit ton of so first off, like whoever's holding equities has to liquidate and then preserve that cash to pay for living expenses,
right,
which would go up. And then you end up with that whole you could actually end up with a whole scenario there where you start to hyperinflate the value of goods and services really quickly, in that it'd be absolutely catastrophic. I don't think there'd be that many people that could possibly be prepared for that kind of scenario. Because like even if you did hoard up like enough US dollars, like the value of that could really go to shit very quickly. So that's like the whole thing. Like the whole I think right now, if you look at all the currencies, since the dollar is the reserve currency, it's likely going to hold up the longest, but so everything else around it starts to kind of topple, and then at some point, I guess you kind of go hopefully basically you have something else in place before you have that extreme of a situation play out.
Right. But I mean, honestly, if I had to put like probably the mid 2030s is as long as the dollar. That's probably as long as the dollar's going to last. If I had to say it, but at that point, that means all the other currencies are gone already too. The dollar's going to be last standing, just like you had said. I mean, here's the thing: is like it's hard to replace something when everything is valued in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because if you look, watch. Let's pull up my charts, which is the Coin Market Cap sites. Yay! All right, so let's go to Coin Market Cap, or actually, let's go to CoinGecko. It's all priced in dollars, not these filthy euros, right? Or any other currency. I mean, it's all obviously go to roguefitness.com. But everything's priced in dollars, even Bitcoin. We rate, even though there's something like, even though if Ethereum goes up, right, and a lot of the cryptos will reflexivity and stuff like that. So if so let's just say the price of Ethereum shoots up. Right? Can you see my screen actually?
Yeah, I can see it. It's good.
Oh, okay. So it's like something like the price of Ethereum shoots up, right? All the RC20s go up because they're all priced in Ethereum, but Ethereum's still priced in dollars. So if you have a weakening dollar, then you actually have a strengthening cryptocurrency, because they for the most part well, this actually isn't true. Well, it is true. So more dollars comes in, so you can just buy more than that. That brings the prices up. But technically speaking, if the dollar's weaker, then it makes these assets more attractive because you have a yield, right? So Ethereum is going to be becoming a deflationary currency in about 1 month and 14 days. About 1 month, 14 days from now, Ethereum becomes a deflationary asset with actually a 5% dividend. Well, the dividend moves up and down a little bit, so between 7 to like 4%, 3%, which is very attractive because most people in the equities market, they're like, "Whoo, I'm in the dividend aristocrats ETF." These are the companies that have raised their dividends for the last 25 years and have not stopped paying the dividends since like 1957, right? So it's like those kind of stocks, and those things on average pay what, like 3.2% dividends. So like right now, off of that alone, even like the high growth dividend stocks and stuff like that or the high interest paying dividend stocks are paying like 4%, and those are mostly real estate tickers and stuff like that,
Mhm.
So right off the bat, like cryptocurrencies is already paying way more than anything else. But on top of that, basically, it's almost the only other place you would probably be able to, even just off the interest payments alone, be able to break even off of inflation. Because like right now, if they're saying the inflation's ticking towards 4%, I mean, really, honestly, we're probably on average. So inflation's kind of a weird thing too, because inflation's really just kind of based on lifestyle. There is like general cost of living, right? So the gasoline and food stuff is going up, but which is manageable. But here's the thing: is that there's certain things where the things you actually want, which are the investable assets, the houses, the insurance, school, those things are growing in double digits.
Yeah.
So it's this whole thing where like our whole society, not even just the whole society, because the United States essentially won World War II and won and everything like that. This whole American system of consumerism, which is what powers the whole world, and honestly, we like it too. I mean, everyone likes it. So I don't. A lot of people kind of bitch about this whole thing about consumerism, but the whole fucking world loves it, right? I mean, we all like it. Who doesn't like to have new shit and Lambos and all this other cool shit? Right. So let's just say, yeah, like Rainier Barbosa, let's just say inflation is about 8% on general stuff, like what you need to live, right? But then on top of that, right, you don't have the average wage going up. Then on top of that, the actual assets you really want, which is the keeping up with the Joneses stuff and the stuff that actually produces income, that's going up exponentially. So to tell you the truth, inflation's probably like 12 to fucking 18%, which sounds fucking like kind of crazy. Like, what? No way. But think about it, right? I mean, Ethereum from like you could probably pull this up. I mean, if you wanted Ethereum, like there's an inflation for us is fucking ridiculous here in cryptocurrencies. Our inflation's insane if you think about it. Like what did fucking Bitcoin cost last year compared to this year? Fuck. We got rugged in terms of dollars if you weren't holding fucking Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, I think it depends. I guess it depends on because I guess when people generally measure inflation, it's falsely misrepresented in when looking at goods and services, which like obviously the value on that didn't, that's not going to go up as drastically. That is way more controlled because you have like advances in technology that reduce cost. And then also, like, if you're based around the US dollar, you already have way more purchasing power relative to the rest of the world.
Right.
All the inflation is basically hidden through assets. Assets in general are inflation sinks for like a lot of other stuff that you can own, I guess, on the planet. Because real estate, equities markets, cryptocurrency, they're actually excellent at absorbing inflation you would see otherwise. So instead of, let's say, somebody going and buying some physical good, they instead invest in something with the intention that it's going to cost more money in the future, and that's always right if you hold the asset for long enough. So assets in general, I think, are great for keeping some kind of normalcy on even things like the dollar, because then that money would ultimately have to go somewhere else, and then so like Doritos and stuff, like all that stuff goes up over time, but the inflation on that stuff actually isn't as high as like people think it is. Like if you look at how much milk, like how expensive milk was like 20 years ago, and look at it today, 3 to 4% inflation on that is basically about right if you actually go back and back calculate everything. But then when you look at the price of actual stuff that people want, like real estate, it's up, multiples, and then cryptocurrency, insane amounts. So the money does go somewhere. It just goes into basically hedges against all that stuff, and then assets end up pumping and absorbing tons of inflation that the world just doesn't really see. It's almost like it's really interesting because if you look at cryptocurrencies and the supply schedule and all that stuff, assets basically cause like a drip into the actual world as far as like money coming in, pushing up the prices of everything kind of in general. So it's really, really interesting. So I think from that perspective, I can't really see governments, being directly opposed to like crypto, things like that, because they do provide like stability even for government currencies
Right. I
over
mean,
long periods of time.
that's why that's why like cryptocurrencies like RSR have really interested in me. CeeLo as well, or like or Cello, or whatever the fuck they're calling it, right? But like something like an RSR where they're trying to, because like one of the reasons I wouldn't be surprised that their U.S. money, like in terms of U.S. like government U.S. money or like think tank money, backing RSR, which is also backing PayPal into this place, is because they need to find more places. So if there's inflation right there and they're trying to stop the inflation of the dollar, right? The United States doesn't mind rugging the rest of the countries, right? So one of the reasons, it's kind of, if you look at it, right, they're essentially decided to target South America first with this. And what they're doing is, I mean, look at this right now, right? You look at USDC. USDC is now number 8. It is growing so quickly. It's catching up. It's catching up to Tether. Right. So if you look at it, right, if we look at stable coins, like stable coins have been some of the, like in terms of what happened in probably 2018 and 19, it was really like the growth of stable coins, which is pretty significant. Like you saw quite a few different types of stable coins. Like you have obviously Tether USDC, you have True USD, you have obviously the Gemini dollar, and a couple of other ones, also a synthetic USDC or synthetic USD, and Maker's what's called DAI token, and the Fade dollar stablecoin as well. So stablecoins are very, very powerful. Obviously, we're going to have a stablecoin inside of the Pulse ecosystem as well at some point, right? So it's kind of a cool, that you see that inside of this. The reason I thought cryptocurrencies were so cool when I first got into it is because, wow, I was thinking in terms of like, imagine like if I was living in Mexico and like it's really hard for me to get dollars. Imagine if I can just turn some of my fucking shitty pesos into fucking Ethereum, and then I have access to dollars on demand anytime I want it. That's pretty crazy. So it's like literally like even on that basis, it's pretty insane and everything like that. So it's like the whole world's starting to. I think the United States, the reason they haven't really attacked crypto that much, but they haven't helped it out that much either, is because what the United States, I think personally, what the United States has been doing is letting the whole world use, like they've been sort of letting it grow, but backing it through the dollars.
Yeah.
Letting everything get denominalized in dollars, and it's actually a way. Cryptocurrencies is actually helping the dollar spread around the world and actually rugging other countries like cryptocurrencies. Because like what I've noticed at least through the courses that me and Charlie do, is that especially for the first 2 courses that we did, I would have said something like 35% of all the people in our courses all came from Canada and Australia, which were having problems with their currencies, right? Because they're basically and obviously one part of it was because of like Canada. Well, but actually Canada, both Canada and Australia were having dependency on, even though they're first world nations, they're actually quite strange because they're first world nations that are very dependent on commodities. Obviously, oil for Canada, and the United States essentially rugged them by not letting them get the Keyline pipeline through. And then you had China essentially stop the purchasing of iron ore and a lot of other commodities from Australia. And then you saw like huge plunges in their currencies and stuff. So that's sort of the beginning of it and stuff. And then so anytime that you're starting to see this worldwide rugging where your local currency gets really weak, you just jump to dollars, and then from there you jump into cryptocurrencies. But you still end up holding the dollars because you rather hold your dollars than shitty ass like Australian currency or the Canadian currency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that. Plus, like there's no, you remove the restriction around accessing stable coins and all that stuff. So yeah, USD is going to be a really good bootstrap for all this stuff that the crypto market uses. So it's going to be really interesting though later on when the dollar starts to, because the other thing I'm thinking about is when the dollar does start to go to shit eventually. And I know you're about to say it's just, I know DC is going to comment on this, but I could only think about what happens in that game I used to play like growing up as a kid.
Wait.
Literally that game, RuneScape, actually. Because what happened was in their in-game economy, basically gold pieces, you could think of that as like, okay, that was their dollar in the game, and
Right.
all that really happened was like you still use the same gold pieces. It's just stuff just costs more money, and then it's the same thing. It's like all the assets that are really expensive end up just costing more, and getting to levels of absurdity where if somebody actually had to actually do things in game to obtain like one of these assets, it just it gets to a point where it's out of reach, so to say. Like today if people end up playing something like RuneScape, if you look at party hats, the only way you can get a party hat in that game is you have to actually buy it in the black market, because you're not going to get enough gold pieces to get that shit otherwise.
So what you're saying is, what you're recommending is Silk Road to us. Is that what I'm hearing right now?
Well, that if you want a party hat, that's the route you have to go. You have to go
All right,
to the.
there you go.
Party hat was a store of value in that game, and it was used, like, it just got massively hoarded up, just like the best cryptocurrencies will.
Max be out here with these comments, bro. Max BP stacks, baby.
It got so expensive in game that you could it's so the price of party hats surpassed what you could hold in your inventory for gold pieces, which was around 2.1 billion gold pieces. So people had to start using these things called shards, which basically further compress gold pieces to actually buy them. So right now
wait. Yeah. So okay. So I'll fully admit I played RuneScape as a kid, but I played it as a kid, like actual like a little kid. So I never got really like advanced into it. I played it a lot. I just like to fucking mine like ore shit and like make crafting stuff, and that's all I did, and fish and fight fucking like giants in the the basement. Where you hit with the big bones with the bronze key. Yeah, no, that's
I played I know exactly. I played that I played basically up through like 2006, and then from time to time, I'll just go and check what the prices of party hats are, and every time I go back, they cost more in game. So
big bones, baby.
Really, really interesting. So if you actually look at the behavior in that game, that really was a simulation as to what would likely play out in a free market, which as of now exists through all these smart contract networks. So Hill of Giants outside Varrock.
Get that bronze key, baby. Get that bronze key.
It's like literally, no, it's hilarious because the most useful like lessons when it comes to financial literacy I learned through playing that game when I was a kid, and then relating it over 15 years later.
But why are we surprised though? I mean, if you think, look, every person that I know that's fucking loaded in crypto played RuneScape and World of Warcraft without fail. Fucking Vitalik was a warlock in World of Warcraft fucking raiding. Like, I was a fucking paladin tank and shit, fucking hitting heroic instances in Wrath of the Lich King and shit. Mm-hmm. Getting hit up by fucking like Korean fucking guilds and shit. Yeah. I was good. Oh my god! But even though gaming is, it's useless to. I mean, it's, how do I say this? Okay, gaming is both. I know Richard says gaming is a waste of time, and it is for the most part. But when you're a kid, I mean, what the fuck else are you gonna do, really? I mean, really, like, honestly, I learned more about like how to trade and how to fucking find like, because I mean, like, all right, I can't say too much about RuneScape because I was just a little too young in terms of like I didn't play it as like more like a teenager, 17 to 18, 19. But World of Warcraft, right? I was fully gold maxed out, fully professional, what's called raiding guild in World of Warcraft, and that taught me essentially how to play with team members and stuff. 25 man teams running like a 45 man guild. Yeah. Essentially having fully maxed out character. I couldn't hold any more gold and stuff like that. So we essentially find out ways like where we would store some of my extra gold inside guild banks and all that stuff. And but what it really taught me was like the auction house, which was essentially our open market. I would use stuff like what I would download all the information for the day every single day. I'd wake up in the morning and download the entire market's data of what happened in the auction house, and from there, I would see essentially the prices fluctuated from the past nights, and then over time, I'd be able to actually sketch out like, oh wow, herbs are really cheap right now or really expensive, and then you would just go out and fucking like.
Oh, dude, somebody just mentioned fucking Castle Wars in the comments. Yeah, I
Oh,
play
really?
Castle Wars all the time. So all I would do. So there's really only two things I would do in that game. One was party hats, and then the other one was um in the tunnels in Castle Wars. You had these. There was like these potions that would like cause an explosion, and like all I would do is I would sit by these rocks and wait for somebody to run across this area where you could explode rocks on them, and like me and a couple other people would just do it regardless. Even if they were on our team, we would just still kill them. Like when they would walk through and just cause like an explosion in the tunnel, and then have these rocks collapse. Yeah, those were basically the two things I really did. That's about it.
So you were a fucking sniper, but that's what that really is training patterns to find like arbitrage and find money in the market and stuff like that. And then team building, obviously, you know, I guess I was more on the team building side, where looking to cryptos over here, like taking advantage of these poor kids and stuff, and taking all their loot and gear with these rocks. Which is pretty funny, but no, but it's valuable lessons, and we're just extrapolating out like life experiences, right? But it's almost the same thing like charting. If everyone believes in charting, then it works because the collective sheep will essentially all believe in charts because everyone's looking at charts. So it's like, yeah, if the chart's saying this, then almost everyone's like, dude, it's happening. It's sort of a weird thing like that. Where yeah, it's pretty insane. Oh, EVE Online. Oh my god, EVE Online. I stayed away from that one, dude. Like I had wait, fuck that. Oh my god, EVE Online, man. That if you want a job online, that's where you go. EVE Online. You just that game is insane, dude. Oh my god. Third Age, Total War, and Sold. Yeah, like any of those games and stuff that have it's almost like we were conditioned. Honestly, like it's almost like they're like the game studios essentially like all like you can blame the game studio, like blame the games from all the violence in video games. No, but I mean in terms of the economics, the reason we do what we do right now is probably based off the video games that we learned and stuff. So that's actually pretty interesting. You just have to look at what like is being taught to kids and what they're playing, and then you can almost tell what their economics strategy, because like we're just taking information on that. Like there's people who trade what was it? I forgot what NBA game and stuff. People would trade jerseys or skins on these games and stuff to each other, and it'd be like essentially like they're trading NFTs. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not really surprised that a lot of the younger generations are actually trading NFTs around because that's what they're used to from the video games we're playing. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Just
saying, the arbitrage part was very true because whenever there was like a new skill added to the game that required some kind of material, it would get massively hoarded up. So you'd have so if it was like an herb, you'd have like a temporary period where the prices would pump because people would need to buy that material to like level up their character, and merchants would basically hoard up the supply and then sell it at like a 75% markup, probably even more.
Yeah. EVE Online is going to be MMO that actual employs economists to balance its economy. Yeah, EVE Online's economy is pretty. Entreplica is another one too, or Entrepica or whatever. I never really got into those games, but basically, if you played any of these high level, big, wrinkle brain games and stuff like that, you probably are way ahead of the curve on those people, because what's going on is you ended up putting these ideas in your head. So when you see something, you're like, oh, that reminds me of this game thing. And like, even though you never tell anybody that, you're like, this is some arbitrage. It's like, damn, bro, the price of this coin's pretty low right now, and I know what's gonna happen. This is like cheap herbs right now, bro. I better buy up all these herbs so I can sell them on these plebeians later at a huge markup. But yeah. We'd have you back in Total War pretty much. EVE was where you could go into other people's homes and steal it. Yeah. Damn, dude. Yeah, I stayed away from that one. Yeah, once you, but here's like the stuff like the Richard teaches about like playing video games. Like it is beneficial at a certain age, but at a certain point, like fuck, man, it's a time sink. Especially if you try to go, if you're going like semi-professional in it and stuff, or you're going like it's so much. You can lose your life in that thing, you know. Yeah, I'd rather. So if you have that type of personality where you have an addictive type of personality, right? What you have to do is like, okay, basically, I'm an addict at everything I do. Like me myself personally, like if I do something, I go overboard always, always. Like so, you have to learn that of what type of person you are, right? Maybe some person's more of like, yeah, I just put in my 4 hours a day or 2 hours a day into crypto and that's it. But if you're that type of person that like has that addictive personality, you essentially have to choose healthy things for yourself consciously, because if not, you go down a really, really dangerous road where you can spiral out of control. So I'd rather play a game where the game means I just get fucking loaded and rich.
That's a good way to put it.
Like,
wow.
You know that whole thing where like you know, if you're gonna be set, like if you're gonna end up like doing something that you're like, oh my god, like fuck, man, I never get to see my friends and family that much. I'd rather be crying in a fucking like Lamborghini or Bugatti than in a fucking like. Well, I don't want to say any bad. If somebody's car, I don't want to say someone's car accident in a bicycle or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. Choose your gods wisely. Yes. Casinos and shit. Yeah. I used to source gems from Chinese gold farmers, cut them, flip them on the auction house. Great hustle. Oh, fuck. Damn. That's what's up. Yeah. Wait, my life is like a Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I do tasks for money. Basically, yeah, actually. For sure, man. Yeah, just gamify your life, but just make sure to play the right games, basically, to win, right? But yeah, obviously do stuff to make your like the money better, and then obviously, you know, money's just a tool, basically, at a certain point, right? I know there's a whole thing where people say like, you know, like money doesn't matter. What a crock of shit, dude! I hate when people say that fucking stupid shit. Money doesn't matter. Money doesn't bring you happiness, right? Okay, sure. I mean, you're right. You're right. Like, money is not everything, bro. But like, fuck, this whole world's getting more and more expensive. You need money to fucking even operate, really. So, like, I mean, you know, let's just say your mom or your father needs like some sort of surgery, or you like, because that happened to me and stuff. Like, my mom or dad, like, my dad needs surgery and stuff. Like, having the money to be able to pay for it, it's kind of fucking nice, honestly. Just saying.
Yeah, the money part is well, I guess it depends on the each person's personality too, because you have instances where like people retire from their job, and then there's some people that can't find something that gives them it's because it gets to a point where like if you hit a certain economic mass, what was relevant in your life previously as to a mean, because every person has goals, right? It's like even if you look at investing in general,
Gold,
most people
gold or goals?
goals.
Oh, gold.
Like
Oh, gold.
you have goals,
Oh.
and financial goals are a very common one. It's like, okay, if I work at this job and accumulate this much fiat and invest, I can basically at some point end up becoming wealthy or something like that. And then
Right.
once you get to that level, then your goals and all that, like it starts your what gave you purpose previously starts to change.
Right.
So like when you do get to that higher level of economic mass, like maybe for some people you just want to have, you know, fun and enjoy yourself, which is perfectly fine. Like every person's going to do their own thing, like with the money they have. But I think a lot of it just kind of comes down to uh, when you do hit a certain point of financial independence, what you're doing in your life, is it fulfilling to you? Does it make you happy? And that's all it really comes down to, because that's what gives like each person their own purpose. And I think usually what happens for people that go back to work, even though they don't have to, is they don't have any other goals, or they just don't have goals like related to like other parts of their life. And that it can literally be anything. A goal could be traveling the world, like seeing different things, having different experiences. All that stuff are completely valid. So, but for me, yeah, no, money's a very useful tool. That's obviously very important for everybody, and
Right.
anybody that says otherwise is just in total denial.
Yeah. So yeah, but I also have, it's a big pet peeve of mine. It's a bunch of younger dudes or something that's like, it's a couple of younger dudes or something, like, you know, not younger, but like in saying like they're either like 20, they're either really in their early 20s to like, you know, somewhere between like their 30s or something, where they're saying like money doesn't matter or like all this other stuff, right? And they think that their body is going to stay the same, or like, you know, like they'll be able to. It's this whole thing where like you are. It's kind of fucked up to say, but it's like basically you're a depreciating asset essentially over time.
That's true. Yeah.
Where like this whole thing of like ageism, where like there's both ageism and reverse ageism, where you have where nobody wants you because you have no experience, and then people then want you because you have a ton of experience and you're still young. It's basically like they want the best of both worlds. They want you to be like, imagine that you're super young and then you're like the world expert in something. Fuck, man, you're like a killer at that, right? But most people aren't the world expert on something, but they can have a lot of experience and earn a lot of money. But what ends up happening is at a certain point, you get so old, and unless it's sort of the thing, as you get older, you have to be higher in the pyramid to keep your position, right? If you're the leader in something, or you're like one of the top guys, like let's just say, like I would say top 0.5% of the population in something, like let's just say cryptocurrency information, I could be like fucking 80 years old, still fucking talking up here like blah blah blah, this back in my day when the dollar cost crypto. Well, back in my day, the reason my name is dollar cost crypto. I know a lot of you guys don't even know about the dollar anymore, but you know, it's BTC sats, it's sats, like sats only now, or whatever the fuck it is. But it's this, you know, it's that crazy thing where like as you get older and stuff, right? For most people, your age, it's almost like just like the sexual marketplace sort of thing, where like I know a lot of the red pill guys watching, where like the curve's kind of like this, where like men go up like this on the curve, and women start up here and then go down over time, and eventually they cross. Well, it's almost inverted, where your age, as you go up, your skills need to be higher in order. But at a certain point, your age hits enough where your skills don't matter, and then they start going down where it doesn't matter. So eventually, like nobody wants to hire a dude. Nobody wants to hire a dude for like a certain position when he's 67 years old, because fuck it, I'll just get someone that's fucking younger and better at it. Unless you're like the lead in your field and something, right? There's a couple older guys where like the military would still hit them up for information, and they're like 7 years old, 80 years old. Yeah. I forgot what story I read. They got some mathematician out of the retirement home. He was like fucking like 90 years old. He was still one of the last people that could do that sort of equation or something. And they got some fucking dude out of the retirement home in order to do some math, because he was the only person to be able to do it. Damn. You know what I mean? It's that kind of crazy thing. So money is literally the protection of the elderly. You have to have it, because if not, like there's nothing sadder than being fucking old and broke. Fuck, dude. Fuck that. Because at least when you're young and broke, there's still like, fuck, I'm young and broke, but hey man, I can get myself out of it. There's like things, but yeah, and it's that sort of thing. But I know technology is going to get better, and the medicines are going to get better, and we're going to be in much better shape as 60-year-olds than the current 60-year-olds. You know, we like a 60-year-old of like when we turn 60, we'll be probably like our 40-year-olds in terms of just how our body's going to be taken care of. Where like the 60-year-olds might be like 50-year-olds, and it's that sort of thing, you know. You know, it's totally possible we could live to like 120, 150, just with all the technologies, especially if you got the kind of money to actually be able to pay for all the medicines and all the advanced stuff. And you know, the United States still leads the world in like biotech, because you know we have a capitalist system and stuff and everything. And then like this is, I mean, it's a negative where like, you know, like our healthcare is pretty shit, but because we pay for a lot of our most expensive procedures. Some really bright minds actually develop quite advanced techniques. So like a lot of the world actually copies the United States in terms of advanced like medical tech, like especially for trauma or biotech and stuff. It all comes from the States. So in terms of like life extension stuff, it's probably going to come out of the United States, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we're close to solving aging as well, yeah. Because then from there, that is an interesting thing too. What happens at that point is if we solve aging, where like we just stay young and we keep the elasticity in our brains, we can keep learning like we could in our early 20s or our teens. Then it becomes this whole thing where, man, it really sucks to be young at that point, because what ends up happening is like most of the young will get kind of cucked out by like all the older dudes who have all the. So basically, you're essentially are like super young. You look super young, but you got a fucking, you're 200 years old. You got 200 years of information, and damn, dude, that's gonna be tough to beat and stuff and everything. It might be sort of a thing where we might have to dislocate our societies or some at some point, and like just it's sort of the thing where you hit a certain age and you just step out of that field or something. It's got to be something like that. It's gonna be something crazy. Like there's gonna have to be some sort of like, I don't know. Is 200 years of compounding. Yeah.
Damn, dude. Imagine just thinking it's crazy how that compounding, because no, it's true. Like your knowledge, if you could theoretically create a scenario where you keep compounding your knowledge, then like whoever is trying to even get to your level, it gets to a point where it's probably impossible. Because like you think about it, because like the whole thing right now is, you described it earlier with like men and women and how each of them peak at different stages, different ages in their life, like due to age. So age
Right.
is basically like a scenario where your body is your body, your brain is just like deflating. It's like now in the case of like just getting worse over time. But if it's an interesting thought, because you look at 18-year-old kids today and the amount of competition they would have to get into some kind of role. But then I guess maybe a lot of that gets solved with salaries. So, you know, the immortal the one that's immortal that can keep compounding knowledge basically will just be at a much higher price target.
God damn. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Someone just told me to look at the KSM to dot ratio. Kusama at the all-time high right now.
Let me take a look.
Damn,
should actually. They had yeah, it looks good. This is probably gonna go really high. Their network is launching probably this month in June. So
fake news, Anna. Fake news, Anna.
No, it's legit. There was
no, I saw somebody in the chat. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's legit. They're gonna start to bootstrap their network in June and probably start to launch their parachain auctions. And those parachain auctions are what make me incredibly long term, at least for the price of that ecosystem, very bullish, because that's going to be a good supply sink for that stuff to fall in. So I'm just gonna wait it out on Polkadot. I'm fine with waiting it on that, but Kusama is gonna give some really good potential on that.
Yeah, a girl forever at 21's a menace to the world, maybe, but then at that point, everybody, all the chicks are 21. At that point, if you think about it, it becomes like imagine. So if you think about it, right, there's only a certain amount of 21-year-old girls, and I know that's fucking crazy shit, but like only amount of 21-year-old girls. Imagine if the whole population is 21-year-old girls, then it just becomes a commodity at that point.
Yeah.
It's just a commodity at that, because you can just smash any 20, and not to say like obviously personality and all that other stuff's going. Actually, that part's actually going to start mattering quite a lot, because like because beauty is a big thing, right? But if everyone's at the peak of their beauty, right, of course, they're still going to be the most beautiful women in the world. But it's like it becomes sort of like, it becomes sort of at the end of technology also bridging the gap where everyone starts looking amazing. So it actually I think at that point it'll start really becoming like personality and actually like distinguishing and maybe intelligence and stuff. It's pretty insane, dude.
In that scenario, yeah, probably, because I mean, you get there's other benefits you get from slowing down aging, because you also get much quicker advancements in everything like science, technology, because those that because there's really very few people on the planet that actually do something that truly matters. Like,
Right.
and what I mean by that is most people have to just basically work within the parameters of like the bubble that they're in, which is
Mm.
by and large vast majority of people. And then there's very few people on the planet that basically change the structure of that and how everything basically works within that this entire world that you live in. And so if you look at cryptocurrency, for example, Vitalik Buterin, Charles Hoskinson, Gavin Wood, like you can basically list the names of the people that truly matter in this market.
Right.
With there's very few people in the grand scheme of things, truly. Everybody else either just capitalizes on the opportunity they see, or they work with whatever the world gives them. It's very. This is why when I think of somebody truly exceptional, I have a very extremely high bar that it's that bar is hit if they literally do something that forever changes the world. But only few people can achieve that. And if you slow down aging, then those people that offer, that progress the society, progress the human race, they're around for longer to do things for a longer period of time that actually matter. So you get just things basically rapidly improve much and much faster until maybe you get to a point where AI. I think that is going to be a big thing, and that's a whole different topic. That's kind of something more of a topic, I guess. Elon Musk is very entwined in, since he works very closely to that kind of stuff. So
Right.
that could be either if done correctly, that could be the greatest thing for humanity, and the flip side to that is you could have the worst thing, literally, because it's the highest living thing in the food chain automatically assumes themselves as superior to whatever's below it. And by nature, that wouldn't necessarily be any different with like AI unless it's progressed in a certain fashion. So
Do you know?
if
Do you know which way I would love it to work? Would be if it. Imagine this. Imagine that, like, okay, so you know how the whole, like, a lot of religions go through the whole rebirth thing where like you die and you go into something, which is I'm leaning more towards that, honestly. If I had to pick anything in terms of like what's happens, I do think that there is the whole rebirth thing, because I've had like dreams and things of different lives that I've had since I was a little kid and shit. But I know that's getting a little woo woo, but I do believe that that's probably more than likely kind of what's going on. Is we're just being born at different times into different things, but like, but whatever. But what would be cool is imagine if you could just like like imagine it's like, or imagine you're 21 and then you grow to be 80, 90 years old, and then you get young again, and then you age. You keep the aging process. Would be kind of nice, because I think that would be a cool way to, like, it's almost like happenings where like you have cycles. Essentially you have youth cycle, and it's like you could still die obviously of trauma and things like that, but that would be really, I think that would be a cool way to kind of do the system where like you could be old, and if you die basically. But if you live long enough and you actually can survive, you actually would get young again. You like you get young again, and you just do the whole process all over again. I think that would be useful, because then you would essentially cut populations. You would cut like the competition stuff down a little. I don't know. That's a little crazy, but like I think that would be a cool way to kind of work around or something.
Yeah, well, I'm actually thinking back to the whole thing with like reincarnation, because there's even stuff in like even the way crypto and blockchains work, and then when you relate to something like Neuralink, there's actually some overlap there, because like for example, if you look at Ethereum, right, you have the current network, which can be represented as like the system state, and then basically you can take that system state and deposit it into a shard, which is what Ethereum 2 basically is with this whole proof of stake thing. So it kind of goes back to like a philosophical thing. Like if you look at Neuralink, I think it's actually kind of similar where you take consciousness and then deposit it into something else. So they're that's like part of the unknown, I guess. Like maybe uh if somebody experiences like a new life, it's like their system state gets basically deposited somewhere else. It's so crazy how that's why I don't rule that possibility out. I mean, it is at the end of the day, it's like here's what you physically know, and then everything else is kind of speculation once you go to that, and then science ultimately answers some of those questions over a long period of time. But yeah, if you have people that can live for longer that are truly revolutionary and change the course of humanity, then you can get answers to some of those questions faster, basically.
Right. It's kind of crazy because I dreamed this kind of scenario one time before where like I dreamed that to me it seemed like I was like in my 40s or something, 40s or 50s, and my parents were really old, and I gave them some sort of a pill or some sort of serum or something, and like my parents became like 20 again, like yeah, like 20s again, and it was really fucking funny because then my parents started fucking fighting each other and they broke up. And they started dating. They started acting like fucking teenagers and shit, which cracked me up. And I was essentially being their parents when they were my fucking parents. Fucking weird shit, man. But that was a pretty trippy dream, dude. But I've had that dream multiple times and stuff. Pretty fucking insane. I mean, who knows? It could happen for all I know. You know, it might be sort of a thing where you choose when you want to go back. Or what? Can you imagine if we said, okay, we make a rule, worldwide rule. Okay,
Yeah.
you get to live 2 lifetimes, so you get the no matter what, or maybe like biologically you can only reverse age one time. So
Okay.
imagine it was sort of a thing where like you grow old, right? You grow old, and then you decide at basically from 40 upwards when you want to pop the pill to go back into your prime again, but you only get it once. That might be kind of cool, and it might be sort of a game where some people are like, I made it to 90 to reset, and then the person dies before he takes the pill. Shit like that. That'd be kind of funny. But that would actually be kind of a cool game where you'd be like, okay, you don't want to be the dumbass that does it too early, but you also don't want it too late because you don't want to die either.
Yeah.
It's kind of a trippy. It's kind of a trippy sort of thing, you know. Lay off the DMT, baby. Shit, that's straight off the dome, baby. Shit, nothing but coffee. Coffee and dreams, baby. But guys, any thoughts on SNX right now?
Yeah, we could actually look at the price charts on that if you want to take a look. Well, I guess maybe first off, are we?
Yeah, we'll go back to crypto, you guys. Sorry, it was just I was smoking the hookah right now, or smoking the pen and shit, and I was just like, got all metaphysical there and shit. But probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I guess in terms of the developments, there's some really cool shit that Synthetics is or has been working on for a very long time now, and I still to this day like it's not going to change my long term thesis around it. What they're doing is they are solving um, a very difficult problem that exists in the market, and there's a huge or exists like in crypto today, and there's a huge market for it later on when you look at derivatives and having a theoretical like infinite liquidity. What they have is truly amazing. It's really interesting, and then a lot of it right now is the rollout on the layer 2 solutions, which is optimism right now, and they're not that far. I think the bottleneck really isn't the development directly from the core contributors on Synthetics. They are dependent right now on developers on from Optimism. So that's really what's holding that up as far as being used on layer 2 and then having a huge market that rolls out around it. I think it's going to take the entire summer to go through their phased rollout with the layer 2 trading, because when Optimism finally uh, deploys with more synthetic assets to start, it's going to be synthetic Bitcoin, synthetic ETH, and synthetic Link. So you're going to have 3 synths to trade around with, and then it's going to take time uh, for more synthetic assets to be available. And then, do you think from So do you think Mirror Protocol is a threat to Synthetix? They're making big strides. I have not looked into Mirror Protocol. The only one I'm really paying attention to is Synthetix. Ultimately, Synthetix is one of the earliest ones for derivatives, and I think ultimately they're solving a huge problem getting set up on layer 2. And there's a lot of really interesting stuff that they're working on with these cross asset swaps that are going to allow for basically extremely low slippage on trades, or even getting from one asset to another. Really interesting. The DeFi stuff is really some of it's actually really fascinating, and Synthetix is one that I think is more interesting relative to the rest of the market, because the value of the token itself actually has real value to it, because anybody that's staking Synthetix is actually taking on risk, and there's a whole there's just, in my opinion, I think there's a good game theory around it, why I think it can end up absorbing a lot of economic mass later. So I think for now, like, ultimately the threat I would see to something like Synthetix is if another network like maybe Polkadot or Kusama offer a good alternative. But the problem is, when you look at stuff being developed on other networks, there's a lot of technical knowledge that the core contributors of Synthetix have that these other developers don't necessarily have. And derivatives are not, like, it's complicated. The stuff they're doing is very complicated. So,
Right.
I think
they're the leaders in the space. They're the leaders in the space.
I'm just gonna go with what's the best in terms of developer and research talent. I'm not really interested in speculating on like a second best, because
Right.
I think the risk there is just a lot higher.
So just full FYI, even though the stream is supposed to be about Synthetix, we're still going to talk about a lot of other stuff. Me, Charlie, and Wasabi are super bullish on Synthetix. It's probably, outside of Litecoin, has been let's see.
I would say
no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Yeah, so Litecoin, Celsius, and Synthetix have been coins that I've just been buying this whole time for have nonstop, basically. Litecoin is Litecoin is just like a passive thing I'm buying forever. But like Synthetix, it's just been I've just been dollar cost intuing it, just doing $100 a day or something like that passively, and just like letting it accumulate. But it's sort of a thing, depending on what you make and stuff, just like get it slowly. Can you guys fight about peaks again? No, we want to focus on stream again, but like, yeah, but we'll do that on another stream and stuff. Yeah, I'll come in with some heat.
I don't think there's really a point, because
like that. Did you see that little flatbread baggy little pizza that like fucking looked crypto eating?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Frenchman pizza that not gluten pizza.
There we go.
Call that pizza and shit. You saw those.
The stuff
God damn it, Daniel.
You basically eat like that stuff is basically like bark that you're eating, just melted cheese on it.
We're just not gonna listen to this fucking fool right here. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about pizza. God damn, dude. Like mine has like some mass to it and stuff. He's using that little pizza, like, oh my god, let me put my bray on my pizza. Let me put fucking like artisanal fucking tomatoes on it. Ugh.
Yeah. Let's actually. But how? I would say.
Let's just stop right now, because we're gonna get into a huge wormhole of fucking pizza.
All right, back to Synthetix.
Yeah. Fucking motherfucker. Oh, thank you, Tom. Thank you for that worthless stuff. Thank you. SNX pizza. Yeah. But fuck. God damn it. Where do we leave off on SNX?
Well, you were talking about coins you were buying in DCA too, and then you mentioned putting $100 a day into Synthetix.
Synthetix is going to be a slow roll, where when it finally is able to scale with cheap fees, at the longest it would be 6 months. At the shortest, we'd be like getting it in 3 months when we have that available to us. So you have time to accumulate. So there's no big rush. The prices right now are pretty fucking nice, but don't blow your whole fucking wad on it. Just buy it passively, build a position. That's what I've been doing. I've not been draining my bank account. I've just been slowly what I can afford. What can I afford? And then don't even think about it. Just take it. And you either can stake it on its own protocol if you have enough money, if you have enough of it for that to make economic sense, or you just put on Celsius. I just do mine on Celsius. Even I have enough, but I just don't want to spend the time on it right now because my time has to be focusing on other stuff. But
Yeah.
14% APY is pretty fucking good. That's a lot. That's like basically 3 synthetics per 1,000 per week. 3 synthetics per week per 1,000. So if you have a couple thousand of those things, it really adds up. That's a lot of coins. So don't blow your whole load. Obviously, in terms of short term, if you're trying to make a little short term money, obviously Polkadot's a better deal. Synthetic, I mean, Celsius is a much better deal. Like these coins that have stuff coming up right now. What's another one? Kusama. Kusama is doing fucking amazing right now. It's got a lot of parachain auctions. Solana's doing good. So you have your short term stuff where you can go a little heavier because it's you got to strike while the iron's hot. Synthetics is kind of underground right now. But you can make some, like synthetics is going to like blow people's like socks off when it does scale and does everything that it needs. It could be possible that synthetics won't do good until 2022, but when it does, it'll be like worth a couple $100. And then you'll be like, everyone's like, how did you get so much synthetics? Oh my God. Like you're so lucky. You're so lucky that you have so much synthetics. Wasn't luck, bitch.
What's that meme where it shows the Bitcoiner like, and then there was like one scene where actually right there in the chat, barely Barba. So that avatar he has there with the guy holding his Bitcoin with the cut on his forehead.
Fucked up like it was easy, bro. Yeah. Wait. I'm gonna show something on YouTube in a minute, but you go ahead. Continue on.
Yeah, it's like people only look at people don't look at what you had to go through to get to that point later in time. Yeah, holding through just the nature of crypto. It's but I mean, whoever's obviously following the market today is likely going to, let's see, comment. Wow. Yeah, so anybody that's actually following this stuff today actually cares enough to make use of or make best of the opportunity while it's there. So I guess you can just collect the staking rewards on Celsius if you're storing it on the app. Pretty high payouts, like 13% APY. Pretty substantial.
It's pretty good. And that APY is probably not going to come down. The worst I could see it going down is maybe 8% or something. But the thing is once you have some of the scaling on synthetics, the fees will start going up, and then it'll buy more coins for you.
You're gonna start to see. I think there's gonna be some overlap with the stuff going on Kusama, and then hopefully the counter from Optimism on that in the summer. So the market's gonna be speculating on, I think, both of that stuff at least over the next couple months.
So I'm gonna show you guys a video right now of how hard it is to hodl, and when someone tells you like, oh, it was so easy for you. You know, you bought when it was cheap. All right. Yeah, right, bitch. Right. So this is basically what it is to be a hodler, like crypto. Like so many fucking places for you to die.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God, I got dip. Oh my God. Oh, leverage. Oh shit. Show me some. Oh my God, your parents telling you, oh my God, you're wasting your life in cryptocurrencies. Like, oh my God, your girlfriend's like, oh my God, you spend more time on fucking YouTube than you do me. Oh my God, why don't you fucking sell? Just these annoying people in your life. And like these are loved ones telling you, get out of crypto. What are you doing? Your paycheck. Oh my God, your whole thing. Like, oh my God, like you buy. You see how you're going back? It's like you're going forward in life, and then like, oh fuck, the market goes, and you have to go back in time. So,
oh my God,
yeah. But at the end, you hit the castle. There you go. But yeah, that's pretty much hodling in crypto right there.
It's probably best way. That was probably the greatest thing I've seen as far as memifying what it's like holding crypto.
Yeah, it's fucking it's tough, dude. And like a lot of people don't even talk about the. I mean, everyone likes to show like, "Whoa, I got money now, Lambos, Urises, and fucking Rollies, and all this shit." But man, dude, it was a fucking shit show for years to get to the point. I mean, like even normal dudes that all they all had was like $10,000, and not even in a fucking minimum wage job, are now starting to come up on like six figures for the first time and stuff like that. Fuck yeah, and to millions on the way. And that's because you guys deserve it, and the guys who start with a little more cash already at the billions already, and some guys are even at like craziness, right? So the longer you stay in this game, that's why we tell you guys don't fucking leave. Like obviously if we're in a bear market, we're like, oh shit, but you keep paying attention, you keep coming back, you keep studying, you keep fucking dollar cost averaging into your positions, and you're going to win, right? Because actually, some of the ones like some of the investors that actually have you want to be an investor, not a trader, for the most part. You could there's always trades to make. You can make a trade here and there, and that's fine. But like, if you're an investor and you pick the right projects that are going to stick around, you're going to win big, like really big. He gets the castle, but doesn't get the peach though. Fucking Peter Young. Damn. Yeah. Also, don't tell anyone your crypto. Yeah, but everyone makes that mistake. You're going to make the mistake. Eventually, people are going to find out. But like, you just got to be careful, Rainier Barbosa, I trade SNX. I'm sorry for your loss. But so one of the reasons that, like, I have a lot of confidence in SNX. We'll get into other cryptocurrencies in a second, but like, is that the community, like most people call themselves like, oh, we're the Chainlink Spartans, we're the Hexagons, we're this and this, and we're all these other, Celsians, Duracell, which is pretty funny. That's a new one, right? Is and also an investing mindset, of course. Crypto mindset Q3 coming out June 10th. Ching. But your seed phrases are another castle.
Yeah.
But it's the sort of thing with like the SNX Spartans. They call themselves the Spartans because they can take terrible dumps in the price of their token. They can survive everything, and then that's what I mean. It's community, right? You even if, let's just say the worst case scenario, let's just say Ethereum died. The SNX team, the SNX community would just move their token to something else and succeed because the community is strong. It's that sort of thing, right? That's one of the main tenets that I teach, and also that like has really helped me make a lot of money in cryptocurrencies. Is like I invest in both. I invest, in the leader in the currency, but also community. If you have community, you have to pick one. If the community is there and they're strong and they're active and stuff, you're going to be fine over time. Obviously, you want to pick a good leader because that's when you really can outperform, right? Alex Mashinsky, Kane Warwick. Richard Hart, these are good leaders and stuff, competent leaders, and then they have a very good community. The coin does well. Yeah, so that's going to be my 2 cents about synthetics right there. You want to talk any more thing about synthetics?
I think the only other, like, it's actually it's actually decentralized too.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's actually why the community, that's what a lot of people don't get with things that are decentralized. If you look at Ethereum, so many people shit on Ethereum, and it's going to fucking curb stomp them later on with their bearishness. Like,
right.
It's just the whole thing. Like, people don't like when there's this very strong community that's passionate about it. Like, that's a huge moat in the market. So stuff like that just tends to stick around for a longer period of time because it actually, like, during all the bear narratives, it can actually hold up and sustain over that and eventually make its way out. So really interesting. So that's something I'd be surprised if you saw with some of the other derivatives based projects, is where you have where you actually have community engagements. Like I think I looked at something like Mirror and just very briefly, I don't know too much about it, but it's going to be hard to have like the same level of engagement as something like Synthetics. Like the Discord is very active. There's developers working on this stuff every single day. And then if you want good laughs, then just go to SNX Trading on the Discord,
Oh my
where
god.
everybody, where all the holders are just in a. It's not even really like a trading channel. It's mostly just like holders that are just like all
Just run.
singing it. They're just like all in pain together.
Sometimes me and Wasabi go in there and troll and shit. Like I was like, what happened to synthetics price? I bought it $28 and I longed it and
Yeah.
stuff. I've lost so much money right now. My wife, I haven't told my wife how much money I lost. Was there any way you guys can help?
Oh man, I forget. There was somebody that made a great comment to what they responded to your question.
Right.
I forget what it was. I think they told you to.
Oh yeah, it's they probably told me what to go 100x long or some shit.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I could. Let me see if I could find your comments.
Yeah. But the one thing that why Ethereum could do really well, obviously, when you're fully decentralized, I'd say the most decentralized stablecoin in the world right now is probably Synthetics USD. It's just really volatile as fuck. Like, but let me think of another one. What's another good one? At some point, right, when the government start really getting involved, especially with taxation, you're probably going to see like Monero and some of these privacy coins finally get the price appreciation, because once government starts saying, hey, you can't do this and this, the privacy coins will probably start getting a pump up and stuff.
There's nothing they can do about they've already attempted by putting like stricter rules in place for centralized exchanges, but the Monero community figured out a backdoor and routed around all of that. And there's going to be ways in a couple, maybe even a year's time, where somebody can basically completely get access to Monero, totally decentralized, no counterparty risk, like none of that. And if they want to hold a privacy coin, they'll be able to get access to it. It's like for now, it just takes time to get the liquidity in those peer-to-peer markets, but it's going to happen. Totally unstoppable. And I think and at that point you have a totally, I would say it's going to be pretty amazing where this market's at in 10 years, because this whole thing around decentralized exchanges is incredibly powerful, and we've only just seen the beginning of that. It's really going to change the landscape of finance forever, because it goes back to the whole thing where it gets to a point where there's not going to be really a point to use things like centralized exchanges, especially after you get some of these other networks running, like Polkadot and Kusama, for example. The fees are probably going to be extremely low to transact on their networks, and there's plenty of block space somewhere for people to use. So at that point, it's like if you have stable coins that are pegged, you're just going to end up with money never really leaving the crypto market, and then it just staying on the internet forever. And then as the world, like, it's actually pretty amazing to me just how early this stuff, if you think about it, because we're not even in a situation yet where you have services, let's say, taking things like stable coins is payments. Like if you go buy food somewhere and you don't want to use like I don't know, I'm just thinking hypotheticals here, but it's a lot of tools that you use today are still kind of pegged into the old financial system. And once those connect to this stuff, it's game over.
Yeah. Omar Felix, man. No vale verga, güey. He's got our first Mexican troll. He's like, hola, yo soy mexicano, and I think this dream sucks. Ha ha ha. Fucking with Jace. Fucking shit, bro. These fucking beaners, bro. Man, dude, Mexican content on the most part for YouTube is pretty trash, honestly. I'm gonna come in there and like fucking just dick down that whole sector and just take it all. Just watch. Next time there's bear market and stuff, I'm gonna have a Spanish stream. It's over, bro. All these Mexican YouTube streamers, man, rest in peace. Chúpame verga, puto. Woo! But yeah, pretty interesting. Actually, I think FTX is getting into the Spanish space a little bit and stuff. It's getting no views at all, but it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'll get into it later. Yo te. Okay. Oh, Walter. So, hey, so what else you want to talk about now? Chat, tell us what coins you want us to talk about, and we'll go into it right now. Yeah, for sure, P. Willie. I mean, so for real, yeah, I'll talk in the chats and stuff during the bear market and stuff. Because like here's sort of my reasoning why I haven't been making Spanish content, because I could have. It's because basically because of the financial literacy in a lot of the Latin American countries, especially the Spanish-speaking ones. If I started telling a lot of people about cryptocurrencies right now, they would be pretty wrecked and be pretty shaken up and stuff. And obviously the cost of cryptocurrencies is pretty high for them as well. So I would rather get them in during the bear market when things aren't so hot at that point, and then they would have enough time to learn about the ecosystem where they wouldn't get wrecked, and then be able to understand, essentially. It's that sort of thing. It's where a lot of the English speaking, with a lot of in terms of the content that you can find in English, there's a lot of content out here in English, so you can teach it. The learning curve is a lot faster. Where in Spanish, a lot of the YouTube content's pretty bad, or it's not that good, or it's pretty simplistic for the most part, and they're shilling like really kind of bad projects on people, which kind of pisses me off. So I'm gonna help out that entire ecosystem out and stuff later on, but I also just have to have the time to do it as well. So it's like I've got to focus on my stuff first, but then eventually I'll help out the Latino world out with that. You could Yannick Garcia on Spanish stream, game over. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, sorry. So back onto that. So let's see what we got. We got Uni. We got Cumrocket. Let's see, ADA. What else we got here? Aave, Celsius. I don't know. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the old ADA or the?
I mean, not so much unless there's something interesting going on, like an actual like coin that that's coming out of that ecosystem, which I just haven't heard too much as far as I just keep hearing things with like Africa, but until I see actual development of tools and things like that built on there, I'll take it more serious. For now, I still I'm more on the side that I think there's from a top level view. I could be wrong on this. I could be totally wrong on this, but from a top level view, it still seems to me that Polkadot's ecosystem is far more useful than what's being built out on Data or something like that, as far as the network they're bootstrapping. The main ones, I guess, to follow, it's probably Akala, Moonbeam, and then Plasm is the other one. Plasm and Moonbeam are competitors to each other. So between those two, you're probably going to end up where one dominates, because they're both offering or trying to offer similar things. But what I like about Moonbeam specifically is the developers aren't in China, so that's already. Anytime I see foreign developers from like China or something like that, it's automatically at a tier. It's automatically at a lower tier. Just is. Call it discrimination, call it whatever. Just historically speaking, it's just the quality that comes out of that is usually not as good, and maybe that changes in the future. But for now, for that reason, I'm going to be very cautious with any parachains that have development that's based in China, as opposed to like somewhere in Europe where it's likely going to be a higher quality. So, yeah, that's the one thing I know. Moonbeam is I think they have a lot of developers that are based around Europe.
So in terms of like Cardano, in terms of their ecosystem, I think, all right, I joke around saying that there's not going to be projects. There is starting to be projects bubbling up on ADA now. But
really? Okay.
yeah, there is. There's starting to be some plays and stuff and everything, which I'll get into in the crypto mindset course. At least places to look into them in terms of where to look for projects. But
Yeah.
a lot of it's honestly fucking just hypey difey like fucking vaporware or just literally fucking carbon copies of synthetics and fucking uni and shit, things like that.
Yeah. See,
Pump
that's like the
copies.
thing. Like that's the
Still
whole
could pump,
Yeah.
and there's money to be made, but you gotta fucking like, woo, made my money.
Dip. Yeah. After
Yeah.
that, get the
Dip
fuck
after
out.
that because you're gonna get fucking dumped on and
Yeah.
destroyed and zeroed out. But
Yeah.
there's every time like here's the problem is like if this was a year ago, right? We'd have time to be like, okay, we'd snipe out, see the good projects, and you have time to research and really look in. Now we're getting to the parts of the market where like so many things are coming out. Nobody has the time to really do the deep research enough to look into it, right? So basically, people are just gonna like the community build. It's really hard to build a community. It's really hard. So you end up having a lot of traders that people just enter your ecosystem, get the price pump, and leave. And the minute that you have no narrative or no like sort of big news coming out, then your project just kind of like fizzles out basically because it could be Cardano's popping for 1 minute in their ecosystem, and then it goes to Solana, then it goes Polkadot, and then shit, and then that's what's going on is people are just jumping and riding the waves. Where you can make a lot of money is in the bear market. Obviously, you still can like it's the bull market. There's money to be made, but there's so many projects to buy, and then this is kind of the problem, right? So that like that's why I've been selecting maybe one or two from each ecosystem and just doing my research on those, but not going too crazy with the rest of them because you can get really degenerate and kind of be too overexposed or too many coins in terms of like the pumping potentials and shit where you could like it's impossible to keep up with all that stuff. Yeah, I'll talk about Vesper in a minute. I like that coin a lot. It's one of my faves. Well, Charles runs but the whole thing too, like Cardano was kept alive because Charles didn't disappear too. So the whole thing in terms of charismatic leader and stuff, like he passed that right there. So his community was never building no projects. They were just building up the protocol itself. So we're Go ahead.
I was gonna say, that is definitely a very strong aspect of Cardano is they do have an extremely active community to the point where I don't think it's going to disappear. In fact, I still think, despite the lack of projects or whatever that are going on right now, I think there is a good likelihood it stays relevant in this market for a long time because of how active the community is. Because the other thing, at least if you counter it, and even though I am speculating on Polkadot more specifically as my hedge to Ethereum, dot marketing has begun only after years of development. So what will be interesting is if you look at how the marketing aspects on the Polkadot side, how well that's executed, because that stuff is important. Like you can build amazing tools, but you do need to have some serious firepower when it comes to marketing. And Charles Hoskinson basically can sell it with Cardano and ADA with how active he is on his streams. But I guess the one advantage for something like Polkadot and Kusama on that side is each of the parachains can have basically their own developer network. So you can end up having like a scenario where the community itself over periods of time, as it grows, you get more of like a quote unquote like a decentralized style of like interest in it, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, hypothetically, if it works out really well. But I think the main thing is the parachain auction, since they're going to end up causing a vacuum on the supply, because it's going to end up just sucking out supply. The price pumping on it can be something that starts to generate interest later on. But yeah, Gravity Blast is definitely right on that. Gavin Wood doesn't seem to have the same desire to talk to people like Charles. I've seen many talks with Gavin. He seems less interested in marketing. Yeah, Gavin is he's pure engineer, pure builder. He wants to build stuff. That's just his personality. Right. And then like other people in the community are going to have to do the marketing,
It,
or
it- it's almost like Gavin's like a fusion between Vitalik, which he's really bad at speaking,
yeah,
versus like Charles, who's very charismatic and likes to talk a lot. So
yes,
he's sort of he might be
yes,
a good middle ground where like he
yeah,
talks enough where like Vitalik's kind of hard to listen to sometimes. You understand it,
yes,
but
um,
Gavin's like it's almost like it's the best of both worlds, honestly. But like like obviously it isn't good if he goes a little more towards the tech side. And I also think Charles is no slouch when it comes to the tech too. He's really
no,
smart.
he's really smart too. It's just if you look at I think if you basically look at the each of them technically, they're both very smart from a technical standpoint. It's hard to say. I can't really. I know they're both very smart technically. I'm speculating I would give the edge to that to Gavin, mostly because he was the brains behind Solidity. So the whole thing with EVM is here because of Gavin. So I think his ideas are more like creative. Like even if you look at Polkadot's ecosystem, it's an interesting design. It's something different. That's not because if you look at Ada, it's basically layer one, and then it follows kind of like the conventional um way like any protocol works. Like it's basically trying to be like a better version of like Ethereum, basically. At least if you
Right.
look at the from protocol level, but the whole parachains in Polkadot's ecosystem, to me, that's totally brand new. What this trying to do something that's actually unique
That's the
in the
first. That's
market,
the first.
and that to me is way more interesting. I'm not interested in somebody trying to make something that already exists better. I want I have more of an interest in seeing something that's unique and new, and even the whole model around parachains is very interesting because that could be a huge supply sink for
Hey,
some massive price pumping.
Kenny YT, thank you for the super chat. Obviously, I mean I think it's a shit coin, honestly, but it's already pretty high in market cap already. It's like it pumped 66% today. It's an exchange token. If they have protections from the Indian government where they can just keep selling cryptocurrencies to the Indian population, it could be worth a lot of money. But India is not really the nicest place for cryptocurrency. So I mean, you could lose your fucking money real quick. So be careful. Yeah. Sorry, I just had to answer that super chat real quick. But yeah, delegations bidding. Yeah, I mean so I mean, do you want to get into like the parachain auctions and sort of like what they are a little bit, like because I mean people in the chat still don't really understand what they are. Like you pretty much stake your token. Like so, unlike a usual like ICO where you let's just say you pay to get into a token like an ICO token, then you lose whatever you use as economic value. So let's just say I bought $1,000 of this token, or I paid 1 Ethereum for this token. You lose your Ethereum. With these auctions, you're letting the teams borrow the tokens and they're staked, and then at a certain point they're returned back to you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't actually. I think the one trade off is I don't think they're staked, so you don't collect rewards on them as they're as you bond them to a parachain slot. But you also don't risk getting zeroed out if the parachain slot ends up sucking, because that's the whole thing. Like for somebody to maintain their parachain slot, you need to constantly have like you need to basically bond dot to do that. And if your network sucks ass, like people are gonna move on to something else. That's like the whole thing is it allows the free market to vote on stuff that's actually useful, and stuff that shit is not going to get bonding from an outside community. And it just allows for better projects to ascend, in my opinion, while being able to not be like, because if you look at Ethereum, for example, is like you can deploy anything onto there. But if you want to deploy on Polkadot's network, you need to bond a lot of value to do that. And if you're going so far as to do that, then there's a higher probability that what's being worked on is actually something of quality instead of something that because the whole thing is like the token itself from the parachain slot for it to gain value. It's got to actually be something useful. So it's basically a really good model for users to kind of speculate on things and then ends up creating things that are just useful tools the market ends up using.
Right. So be very careful what you end up staking your coins for. Every token's going to have a different bonding curve. Some say, hey, if you lend us your coins, you only have to stake it for a certain amount of time. Obviously, I think the minimum amount of time might be like about a month and a half to 2 months, but that could change with some of the rulings and stuff. But typically, I would guess it's probably 6 months for some projects. Other ones are probably the maximum is 2 years. So you have to be very careful and also do the math on whether a project is worth investing into. I think Akala, I hate these names. Akala and Akula, whatever the fuck, Akula, or whatever the fuck their name. You know what I'm talking about, you guys. Jesus. But yeah, Coin Bureau had a really good video on this, actually. Karua. These are essentially like their Aave protocols, basically. You need borrowing and lending. These are great protocols. I think these are very good, and they're going to be a hub to launch more tokens on these platforms. Then from there, you get into more speculative tokens, and this is where you can really lose your money. And I honestly think, I seriously think that a lot of people are going to lock away a lot of their coins. So I think holding liquid DOT and Kusama is really the fucking winning strategy. And then with a couple investments, if you really want the token, you can just buy it from the open market, unless they're giving you such an unbelievable deal of like tokens for staking your DOT or your Kusama and stuff. So you have to make that position. But I would never have more than 50% of your total liquid bag staked, because that you're just looking to just give away your entire your chances to actually make a lot of money and lock that value away in profits and stuff. Because we could go into a little bit of a, let's just say this happens and you lock yourself for 2 months or even 3 months, right? You still can be in the bull market, so it's fine. But imagine like when your coins come out, like the prices are we just took a big dip again, and then you're just like shit, and you miss the whole big pump on DOT or Kusama, which could, like, maybe Kusama goes to $800 or $1,000, and then by the time you get your coins out, it's back to 300 where I bought it. Fuck. And then you hope that you made enough money from the coins you just received. And what if you didn't? What if you got fucked on them? Oh my god, that would suck, bro. So be really careful. Like me, I'm not really doing any parachain auctions. Akala is maybe the only one I might do, or Moonbeam, maybe. These are the only ones that I personally will do. But the rest of them, I'm not really fucking around with them. Once I get a lot more research in and I look into which ones I like and stuff, I'll just buy it cash money, because people are just going to dump them really quick and try to flip them and stuff. So there'll be an arbitrage there, and eventually the prices will go down, and then you'll be able to catch them on the low anyway. So it's like I don't see much point in the parachain auctions, because you just get more price. I think you'll get a little bit more price appreciation in the main tokens themselves, and then from there be able to buy them on the low later on. But do what you guys want to do, Hoes want to be hoes,
Well, I don't think that really makes sense. Yeah, I guess the play on that is the only because the tier one, or what's perceived as a tier one, there really is no tier one parachains right now. It's speculation as to what's tier one and tier two. If you can find like a good tier two one that ends up becoming a tier one, that's where you can get like an outsized return,
right?
Speculating and bonding some of your DOT or a Kusama. But yeah, I'm kind of more on the side. I'm mostly gonna just stake and hold my my DOT, and then I'll consider it after I see how it goes with Kusama, because what I want to see is how the valuations turn out for those that bonded Kusama, and Dude, that sounds like a rug pull aggregator.
But that's because Dot makes the best rug pulls, I would say, in terms of all these other projects. Like, dude, like, bro, some of these projects, man, are coming out on Solana and Polkastarter and some of these other like D grade, C grade, like launching pads. Man, bro, they're fucking, they're vapey wary, bro. Vapey wary.
It's just that in terms of the rug pull, the like, if the value of the token goes to shit, then the communities can, after the leasing period ends, they can just remove their bonds and they get their DOT back. So that's the whole point of it. Is it allows for the market to speculate and like bond value to something that they think is going to have value, but there's the option of getting that value back if it does end up being a rug. So I think the game theory just kind of favors trying to build out something that's actually useful on the network because the upside is so massive.
Right. I will give anything for a hoe that gives me 12% APY. Well, yeah, actually the APYs are going to get higher actually. So like when let's just say when Polkadot, because Polkadot and Kusama, you both can get like 12, 14% APY on them, staking them on Kraken or staking them themselves natively. When people do parachain auction slots, they stake them. Those coins cannot be staked in the network to be validators. So when you stake your Kusama, I expect when Kusama, all the Kusama auctions, everything are set done, the APYs on Kusama and DOT are going to go up. So you're probably going to be like 16, 18%, 21% APYs. Because a lot of people, just like everything happens, right? What do people always do? They over fucking do it and they ape and go crazy into something. So you're more than likely to see too many people overstaking, going like crazy, like dumbasses. And then us like Kusama Chadwick, Dons over here with all the fucking coins because we didn't fucking stake them all. Or I mean, not stake them all. We didn't, bond them all and stuff. We just take their profit and then they come out the profit, the coin dumps. I'm like, man, fuck Kusama, fuck DOT. This shit sucks. I'm out of here. And then we're like, hey. me and Wasabi are buying up all the Kusama and the DOT on the low. We're like, yeah. And triple up in our bags. Like, let's just say let's just say it's an example. Right? An example. All right. Actually, here I'll pull something up, man. I'll pull something up on these bitches. Let's pull something up. Let's see. Okay, here's TradingView. Right, something that I never pull up ever because I don't like it. But but I really do like coin pairs. Actually, it's fucking awesome. So right now, Kusama is at all-time highs for the Kusama to DOT ratio. Right. I can't hear you, Wasabi.
I was gonna say it's going way higher.
Oh, I know it's going way higher, bros. Like, so okay, so I want to show you guys something. So, do you see my cursor movie?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, actually, this wick right here happened right in the middle of the last crypto mindset Q2. When we were teaching people about this, which was kind of cool. So while Charlie was talking in the morning, I was dollar costing out of my Kusama into Polkadot, and I actually did sell this top right here. It actually went higher. I'm surprised it's not. It went to 16.2.
Yeah, I like how you're bragging about the exact.
Oh, I know. I'm a Chad, bro. I'm a Chad.
Right at the pinnacle over here.
The pinnacle, bro. I bought back down there. Yeah. I sold it 16, and then when I did my order, it was at 16.2. So I just want you to know, like gangster. Then what I did is later on, when it wicked down to about like 10.5 or so, I pulled the trigger and I bought back all my Kusama. So effectively, I gave myself a 40% larger bag of Kusama. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, bite the lip. I know. That was a Chad. I know that was a Chad. I know. I'm just saying, bro. I wear this spacesuit for a fucking reason. But I'm just saying, like,
it's like when you watch. It's really funny. If you watch Alex Becker's videos, he always has to like point out where he gets to the point where he's like definitely embellishing how every single move that he does is selling the top and buying the bottom.
I literally did.
Yeah. He does that every single time to the point where it's like, dude, no. Like,
Did I buy the Litecoin bottom? Yes. Did I buy the Bitcoin bottom?
no,
Yes. Did I buy
those
the
are yeah, I get those are gonna happen for sure. I'm just think I'm not I know you did that because we were talking about it when I think you were like on the phone when he sold your coins
yeah.
or something, and then you bought back in at a huge discount. But that is true. It is only arrogance if you can't back it up.
Right.
He actually did it. He did legitimately sell the top on the ratio.
Sorry, it went zero gravity in a second right there when Wasabi was giving my props right there.
Mm.
But go on, Wasabi. I like so far this conversation. You're talking me up. It's kind of nice right now. You can continue, bro. I love it. Keep going.
All right, that's it. That's where it ends.
What? Brought together. But yeah. So in terms of the Kusama to dot ratio, I pretty much see like 20 to 30, honestly, on this ratio.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you're having a very big one-time event where Kusama is the star of the show.
Yeah.
Then Dot will be the star afterwards.
Yeah.
Then only selectively will Kusama be cool at certain parts, right? So pace reviews, maybe, yeah, but
yeah, yeah, once I would say basically once the farther Kusama gets into launching their network, the risk of not holding Dot at that point starts to kind of go up a lot because the speculation as far as the ratio, once Polkadot basically launches once they start having parachains on their network, you're probably going to have a bleed out on the Kusama ratio. But for now, it's good. Going into like the parachain auctions, if you want to play it really safe, you can basically roll it, keep what you want long term, and then I would still hold definitely some Dot later on. I'm mostly just I mostly want to go for the Dot play long term. So I'm mostly just watching Kusama from like a top level to see how the network launch goes and just see what kind of speculation comes with that, because then I'll have a better sense as to what will happen with Polkadot later, because it could really be amplified. Like if the launch around Kusama ends up being really successful, then there's going to be, oh my god, it'll be insane with Polkadot. That's why I'm just saying, like, you always want to hold like what the market perceives as the number one. And there's the advantage right now with Kusama because they're intentionally bootstrapping through Kusama because it gives them time to see how stable the network is as they allow more and more parachains. So to start, they're not going to allow all 100 parachains from the start. They're going to slowly scale it up to make sure the network stays stable. Because if they run into an issue, like if the network if the network gets like goes down or something like that,
they said the nicest way. They said it in the nicest way possible. So we are going to limit the amount of projects that will be able to do the parachain auctions.
Yeah,
and
what they're
which is the nice way of saying you fucking stupid fucking gorillas are going to ape in so much fucking Kusama and Dot into the parachain auctions that no one is going to be validating the fucking blockchain. So we need to limit this fucking thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily like the problem on the validating them. I think the main thing is if the network just stops working, because it's the whole code base around Dot and Kusama is it's a new code base, so that comes with risk. So I think they're trying to avoid having like the network just stop, because they ran into that issue on Polkadot actually recently where there was like some bug with like the client they were using, but it didn't really matter because the network right now is just processing blocks and staking rewards. So nobody really gives a shit. And honestly, like that's the other like if you look at networks like Stellar, for example, their network actually went down and there was no reaction on the price whatsoever because nobody actually uses Stellar for actual utility. So nobody gave a shit. The price didn't react at all. If a network like Ethereum went down, that'd be catastrophic. And I think in the case, like once you actually have these parachains plugging in, if you actually have the network go down in that scenario, then like the whole market's going to know about that, because that is like you have people actually using it at that point. So yeah, I'm just reading the comment. Jimmy, would you guys buy Dot now? That's one that I'm not financial advice. Like I'm just cost averaging my way in, and that's one that I'm buying, like regardless of like what the price is.
If you guys want help with the Kusama to Dot ratio, we're going to be talking about it a lot inside the Crypto Mindset course. So if you guys want to sign up in order to at least find out when that comes out, put your email on the website and stuff and get on the waiting list. I'm going to talk a little bit about it right now, but we're going to get into crazy detail in terms of like how to actually attempt it as well as like strategies on Pulse as well. So how to not get like rinsed and everything, and like actually make some money off of it and everything. So it's not on sale right now. The waiting list is up. The sale, I mean, it goes on sale in 10 days, June 10th. And then it's only going to be on sale for just 5 days. And after that, it's closed. And me and Charlie are going to be MIA for about like 2 weeks off of YouTube, basically. So because we're going to be pretty much, So we're going to be pretty much just, making sure that all the guys in the course and stuff have action plans and stuff. And then just we're going to tell them about the best moves that we see so far. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Kusama to Dot, the Pulse chain play, and a lot of other ecosystem sort of things, and where to put money at the current time to start making some money. And, of course, the longer-term plays, of course. But so sign up, you guys, right now. Just put in the email and then get on the waiting list. Yes, Tom Bombadil. Oh, what up, Tom? Shit, I haven't seen you in a minute. What's going on, dude? But yeah, it's June 18th till it might end between the 28th to the 30th, basically. It just depends on how many rest days or how many days we put in between in the course and stuff, whether we do 2 or 3, depending on how all the guys are taking in the information. But yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like the course, obviously not financial advice, but like we've quite a few multimillionaires have come out of the Crypto Mindset courses. That's for fucking sure. Yeah, but in terms of the Kusama to Dot ratio, at least where I see it short term, it's probably gonna hit 20, maybe 18 or something like that, and then like chill out for a bit, and then go back up. Like right now, it's just the smart money's buying up Kusama, because the parachain auctions are happening right now. Right now, all of CT, which is crypto Twitter, right? All of crypto Twitter is it a trap? Is it a bear trap? Is it a bull trap? What's going to happen? Bitcoin. And then if you look on YouTube, right, is the price going to go up? Bitcoin price imminent, going to crash, fucking lose money. Oh my God. And then that's the reason I called the stream No More Poor. I mean, because it's like, what do y'all like? There's just so much shit going on, right? So when the auctions go live on Kusama, even if the market's kind of down, Kusama's going to do pretty decently, just regardless if it launches, because money will concentrate in there, because it doesn't take that much money to pump a coin that's worth a couple $2 billion to pump it up. So it can go up. It can go up regardless of the market. Obviously, you do want to make sure like the guys that are running Kusama and everything. Obviously, it's better if the prices of Bitcoin are going up, because that just allows people to have more money to then ape in even harder. But regardless or not, if they start launching the auctions, you'll still see some price appreciation, even if the market's a little down. Yeah, I think we do accept crypto. I think it's 10% off crypto and everything like that. But we're going to announce the prices, the pricing, and everything else, and how to do all that stuff once the course launches. But just put your best email in the course, inside the Crypto Mindset course there on the link, and yeah, you'll find out as soon as we launch it. Yeah, the price is not out yet. No, we're going to release all the information on June 10th. Definitely Tom Bombadil right here, man. He aped in hard into Hex and fully staked out, baby. So he's on that rocket ship right now. So he's got his Hex bag. That's for sure. Yeah, with only 8 million supply too, and as well as all the coins are going to be locked up, and then on top of that, there's going to be a ton of people that are also locking up their coins, just staking it as well for both Kusama and for Kusama. So that really means there probably really is only going to be like 1 million, 2 million circulating probably in the market. So that's quite pumpable. Yeah. You okay, Wasabi? You're muted.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just reading something.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, you're just being so quiet. In other news, yeah. Hex is a great play right now. Obviously, I was telling guys for anyone who's been following me or Charlie or Wasabi, we've been talking about Hex like a long time ago, and we were telling I was telling a lot of people to really accumulate their bags, under 3 cents. But right now, you could accumulate some. You just got to be a little more cautious, obviously, because the certain amount of X's. But we'll get into that in the crypto mindset course and everything like that. But yeah, so yeah, it's pretty much right there with Kusama to dot ratio. It's at an all-time high, which is pretty good. The sacrifice phase.
All right, just read a comment online.
Yes.
God damn it. So I'm just reading this post on Reddit advising. So it's like, stop telling people about your crypto, especially if they know where you live. Which is that's actually true.
Yeah.
And then one of the comments, all right, so it's good to not talk about how much crypto you have, / how much valuables have in general. It puts a target on your back. And then the comment to that was, you telling me you don't enjoy talking to 30 people trying to scam you? Like, the comment after that, I talk to scammers all the time in public to pretend I have friends. Oh man, fucking comments.
11 o'clock at fucking night.
Let's see.
Fucking crazy ass bitches, man. Anyway, Versace glasses. Oh, yeah. Wait. So the ratio is by 10. Yeah. Let's see, but 10 to Hex, millions over the course of 15 years. Yeah, and sacrifice. Yeah, any news on the sacrifice phase? So right now, it's basically just all we know right now is that there's going to be something called the volume phase for week 1, which will that'll be the lowest price you can get for Pulse, but it'll be still based on the USD value for what the cryptocurrency you decide to sacrifice during that 1 week phase. Basically, we're just waiting on Richard to say, "Hey, sacrifice phase is coming." I'm kind of sure that he's waiting. He's waiting right now. He's waiting right now to. I'm pretty sure he's waiting right now for Bitcoin to probably to see which way it turns. Once it actually does its bearish thing or its bullish thing, then from there he'll probably say, "Hey, sacrifice chamber's coming." So the market isn't dipping while that happens. That's kind of my speculation on that. So he's waiting for the top, yeah, or the bottom, pretty much. And I was rugged by Wasabi. Beautiful. Yeah, so I mean, so at least currently right now, I really am pretty bullish on Celsius. So there's going to be this summer. Yeah, the summer is going to be really, really wild. There's going to be a lot of shit going on. Celsius is releasing a bunch of good news, of partnerships, probably exchange listings, loans in different, jurisdictions in the United States as well as around the world, endorsements and all this other stuff. Once the price goes up and everything like that, I mean, you're going to start seeing Celsius getting talked about quite a lot. Obviously, one good thing, it's bad for the other users, but BlockFi is doing fucking terribly. Like, dude, they're doing bad. There's been talks that like BlockFi might be insolvent or went insolvent for a little bit on the dip and now is okay, but like was insolvent for a while. So there's been a lot of net outflows out of BlockFi into Celsius, and a lot of people are gotten tired of BlockFi basically. It's kind of funny, obviously, a lot of the competitors are just making a ton of but it's only a 700 Bitcoin loss, which is quite a lot, but Yeah. So now the web app's out there. So a lot of people are like, okay, I'm gonna start using Celsius as well now because I can use it on a computer instead of a phone because some people are afraid of using phones, which is fine. But that was pretty bullish. So we're starting to get a lot more users on Celsius. So I'm always watching the total user growth numbers and stuff. I mean, right now we're in the $700,000 range or 700,000 user range, which is really, really good for the price and everything. So right now, Celsius is just getting sort of like a rubber band where as more people join, it just brings more buying pressure for the price. And as soon as all this good news comes out, also the price will start appreciating as well. So another thing too, what's it called? They're going to have the equity round coming out. It's you'll be able to buy Celsius equity through Bank to the Future, and that's a pretty big event as well. So I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why the price has been staying kind of steady as well, because they're waiting for all it to shake out. And the same thing happened last time Celsius had an equity raise. The price kind of went sideways for a while, which was a huge buying opportunity because like you have whales spending a lot of their Celsius to then get equity, and as well as other buyers. So the price went sideways, but once it passed, the price just launched from there and went to dollars. The active wallets are up as well. I don't have the numbers on me right now, but the numbers are up. The numbers are always going up, which is pretty cool. Yeah, $21 billion under assets under management, and it's a lot of cool stuff like that. Rug me. But yeah, you guys have any final questions, you guys? Please don't talk about Celsius going sideways. I mean, a lot of people here got their portfolio safe because they had Celsius and that had Hex. You know what I mean? And those tokens didn't go down, even though some people were complaining both on Celsius and Hex. Obviously, Hex pumped recently, but a lot of people were complaining, you know, like all these coins, they're not moving. And then when the market took a shit, you know, when the market took a shit, people held their value up. So it's like, the market went down, and then so people got pretty happy. And then that's also psychologically one of the reasons why people also got even more bullish on Celsius was because Celsius didn't go down, it actually got more of a Lindy effect, as well as like a lot of people just started saying like, wow, I'm super happy I got this. So the confidence on Celsius actually went up. Yeah. So the ratio top is 30 Kusama. That's what I think. So it can go up to 45, but I don't think so. But it's possible because if the Kusama dot ratio, let's just say it goes up to that point, it's possible at that point dot will start pumping in USD value as well. So that'll lower the ratio down. So you got to decide at a certain point what you're going to do. I would do a ladder strategy if you're going to ladder out of Kusama into dot, and then at some point you could ladder back into Kusama. But then the thing is, you got to weigh the options of whether like, oh, there's no more good news on Kusama for a while, so it might be bad. But if you hold it long term, eventually you would be able to swing it back and forth. But it really just comes down to like time preference, really. But yeah. So it's getting kind of late, you guys, now. So I'm gonna end the stream right now, man. I'll catch you guys a little bit later. Just buy your coins, hold some cash on the side right there, and keep partying on, you guys. Good night.